Welcome to the Living Ageless and Bold podcast. Each episode, I bring you amazing women who inspire, educate, and share their experiences and journeys along the way. So grab a glass of wine or a cup of coffee, find a cozy spot, and let's relax and have some fun hearing what can be accomplished after 55. Hey everybody, welcome to today's Living Ageless and Bold. Got my sexy voice on today. I've had a cold the last week, so I might sound a little different, but we're going to have so much fun today. My guest is Laura Geller. She started her career as a Broadway and television makeup artist, which I just think is so cool, and I can't wait to talk about that. She went on to open a brick and mortar store. A few years later, created her own makeup line, and I'm sure you have seen it everywhere. She's talking about her digital marketing. It's brilliant. And I want to talk all about her baked makeup, which I hope we have to go to Italy to learn about that more. That would be so fun. But she's been named a Forbes 50 over 50. She's been on QVC for almost 30 years, and we are going to have an amazing conversation. Welcome, Laura.
Oh, thank you for having me. You know, whenever I hear an introduction like you just gave me, I always think, I did all that?
You did.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
You did. And it's amazing. I watched some of your interviews and you're just so fun. I see why you've been on QVC for 30 years. But let's talk about how you got started. My best friend from high school is a professional makeup artist, and she only does men. Like, that's her niche. That she's done Bruce Springsteen, she's done presidents, like, amazing. How did you get into Broadway and television?
It's funny you mentioned high school because it's because of my high school friend that I actually ended up becoming a makeup artist. And that's a side conversation for another time. But how I ended up doing television and Broadway is I was working in New York City. There was a store, no longer exists, that sold theater, TV, and film makeup to the trade. And I had studied at School of Visual Arts, theater and film makeup. And I wasn't sure what to do. I had a parlay, like my skill set. And there was a woman that came in to have her makeup done. And I also did regular makeup there at this store. And she was a famous costume designer for Broadway shows. And we hit it off. She liked my personality. And she said, listen, there's no budget on Broadway for the lead actresses to have a makeup artist. There's always somebody for wigs and costumes, but not for makeup. But I work on shows where the lead actresses need education on how they should make up their faces for their roles. Would you be interested? And I was like, okay. And she brought me in. I'll never forget, because the first person she brought me in to do, I always get scared to tell people because people will know who it is. She played the nanny's mother, Renee Taylor. And, you know, she played Fran Drescher's mother on The Nanny. And she was doing a Broadway show called It Had to Be You at the time with her then husband. He's no longer with us, Joe Bologna. And so I know I'm older, so a lot of people are going, who? But anyway, she said, listen, she is very particular and she will want to know that you've already worked on a number of famous actresses and that you've done Broadway shows. So fake it till you make it. And I was like, what does that mean? She goes, just make it up. And she wasn't kidding. I walked in. I was so nervous. And she was like, so who have you done? And I was like, Liza Minnelli, Barbara Streisand. I just went through a list of like people I had never done. And she believed me. And what do they say? Dazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with
BS.
And BS. And so I did. And we got along famously. And she wound up hiring me and paying for me out of her own pocket because she really wanted me there. And after that, I started doing Broadway shows. It was incredible.
Wow. It's all it takes. We talk about this at any stage in your life. It's, don't be afraid to.
You could be afraid, but you just got to do it anyway.
You got to do it. I used to tell my kids all the time, I'm like, just say it with confidence. If somebody questions you, don't blatantly lie, but say it with confidence.
Yeah.
I love that part. Streisand.
I guess I failed one of those. I kind of blatantly lied. But as it turns out, I wound up doing Liza Minnelli's makeup later in life. So
you were forecasting. That's all.
Manifesting.
I love it. So how long were you on Broadway?
So I worked in Broadway for many years. I mean, I worked with Oh gosh, I did. I worked on the show Annie. I worked on the show Chicago when it first came out with Anne Ranking, the choreographer.
Okay. I have to
Yeah.
tell you real quick
Yeah.
because one of my early guests is a girlfriend of mine from Virginia Tech, and she was one of the original Annies on Broadway.
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding. Nope.
Wait, what's her name?
Nope. Theta Blackwood. Oh, now a Theta Stemler back then.
Wow. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. That's
Yeah.
really, wow. That's funny. And
Yeah.
so I was doing that, but it wasn't steady because I only came in if there was like a problem that needed to be solved, and so I was doing that, but concurrently I was doing private clients at this store that I worked at. And then I was starting to do television anchors. I was doing a little bit of everything. And it's sort of what happened to me was many years later, I kind of found my niche, and my niche was working on real women, not celebrities, who really wanted to learn how to apply makeup for their everyday needs. And then I realized I maybe had the capability of being good in sales, which was never something I could have forecasted. And so I put two and two together. I was like, sales and makeup, sales and makeup. Okay, develop your own line so you could sell it and do private clients so they could buy it. And that's how my career sort of changed a little bit off of TV and film.
Now, from somebody who invented a product, which I did, and I owned a retail store forever. So I thought, oh, I can invent a product and have it manufactured. That I've owned a store for 10 years.
Wait, I didn't know this part. Can you just tell me real quick?
I did. So I had sold my store and I broke my foot and was in one of those big, awful black medical boots. And I was headed to New York City, fashion capital of the world. And I'm Googling, medical boot fashions, medical boot accessories, and there was nothing available. So I designed a fashion line for them. And I won Steve Harvey's top inventor competition. Diana Ross.
The Steve Harvey piece. Okay.
Yeah. And Diana Ross wore my product when she sang for President Obama because she was in a boot.
Wait, does that line still exist?
No, I'm done with that. The PR business took off, and now this podcast, and no, so I don't do that anymore.
We need you. I think I was with somebody recently at an award ceremony, and she wore that black medical boot, and it was all blinged out.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh my God, where did you?" She said, "I made it." But she had put all this bling on it. But I thought somebody should be doing that. That's really funny.
I did for 12 years. So I just recently stopped. But so somebody who knows makeup, you know it, but it's a little bit harder to come up to actually design your own makeup line and have it manufactured.
Oh, it was so hard. I didn't know anything about that part of the business. I knew what products people needed. I also was good at understanding what wasn't really in the marketplace back then. And now, I mean, there's so many options of things that like the marketplace is so flooded that I think it's confusing actually. For women, it's like, is it a serum that I need? Is a serum a moisturizer? Is an oil a serum? It's very what's the word I'm looking for? Well, anyway, you get the idea.
Confusing.
It's confusing, but that I will say. So I think I had a good eye for knowing what to create, but manufacturing it, it wasn't until 1997, because I had a store that I opened in 1993 on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. And I sold it. It was private label. Like I would go to a manufacturer where they had a ready-made line that I just picked out the colors and put a label on it. And I had a good eye for it and I was successful at it. But it wasn't until 1997 when I got the opportunity to get my first appearance on QVC that because of the quantities that they would order, that I could create my own product and design my own product. And that's when it shifted.
So I want to talk about QVC. I haven't been on yet, but I'm officially an approved guest host. I know. I'm dying. Like I can't wait.
Oh, I'll tell you everything.
Oh, I love QVC. I just think it is so, but it's not easy. Like having invented a product and working with a lot of inventors, they want to get on QVC. So how did they find you? Because you've had an incredibly long relationship with them, which is amazing.
Yeah,
How
I'm
does that
very
all
fortunate.
work? Yeah.
27 years I'm currently on. Next year is going to be 28. And I'm the longest standing, what they call color cosmetic brand on QVC. And I have to tell you a little secret before I tell you how I got on. If anybody's listening to this is a word of advice. QVC wants newness and they want innovators and they want products that don't exist in the marketplace or exist possibly but differently. So everybody can have that opportunity to go on QVC. And I think the magic is approaching them, because it's not going to come to you if they don't know who you are or somebody doesn't introduce you, but doing your homework, because let me tell you how many people come to me and say, I have an idea. I want to put this product on QVC. What do you think? And most of the time I'll say, well, tell me about it. And I'll say, have you done your homework to look in the space to see if there's any competitors in that space? And most of the time people really didn't do their homework, which surprises me. And so you really have to know that it's something different, and it's something that you have to know the demographic of the customer profile at QVC to know, if your product matches what they need and want. And I think you don't have to be an actress. You just have to have a personality, meaning friendly, and you have to like people and want to help people and be an empath, because I think if you are, that comes across. Being your authentic self comes across. So for me, I didn't know any of that, and I probably could have approached them, but I got lucky because in the cosmetic industry, there's an organization that I'm part of that I was at an event that they hold every Christmas where the beauty industry goes, and I was introduced to the head beauty buyer at the time. And she said, I've heard about you. You're getting a lot of press. And she said, I'd love to come talk to you about the opportunity to be on QVC. And I thought I died and went to heaven. And so my dog just came back from their walk. And so she just came in to say hello. Hello. Oh, you want to come here? So come. But anyway, so that's my little word of advice for people who, want to get on that platform, whether it's QVC or HSN or any live shopping. Could be TikTok, could be Instagram. There's so many ways now to present your product.
So how was your first experience? Obviously you'd done makeup before, but had you ever been on TV before, or was this?
Well, I had not been on TV before, and I was a nervous wreck, but I had been around TV doing famous people and anchors. And so I was very used to being on set, but I was so nervous, Christina. I got to the elevator at the hotel because I came in the night before. And I was with at the time, the woman who managed my New York store. I was like, you have to come with me. It's my first appearance. And they didn't have at the time guest training classes. So they threw me to the wolves. I didn't know. And I got to the elevator in the hotel. She meets me at the elevator. I said, I can't do it. I said, I'm too nervous. I'm hyperventilating. I think I'm actually having a panic attack. She said, let me tell you something. I just had QVC on in the room, and there was a man on there, and he was selling a mop, and he had hair growing out of his ears, his nose, his eyebrows, and he sold that mop out. Now snap out of it and get over it. You're nobody special. Just do what everybody else does. Talk about what you know. And I was like, oh. And I got to the studio, and I was with the most famous at the time host. She's no longer there. Her name was Lisa Robertson. And I went on with her, and she put me at ease. But I also, when I got on the set, a feeling of calm came over me because I was so used to working with cameras. I knew where to look. When the red light would go on, I could turn each place it was. It was very familiar. And so I had that going for me. But then I just spoke about the item I was presenting. And it was a contour and a highlight kit, because I worked in TV and film, and so much of my knowledge was how to sculpt a face for TV and film. And when they asked me what, product I would put on, I was like, I think contour and highlight. And I put this 3-piece kit together. And I picked 2 models and I sculpted their face and showed how you can make your cheekbones look higher and your, cheekbones look like more polished. And I sold out of the 750 units they ordered from me. And that was the beginning. And I didn't even think I was going to go on again. I was like, oh, that was good. Okay. And I went back to my office and into the basement of my shop, which is where my office was. And a week later, I heard the fax machine, which made that noise at the time. And out comes a paper for 1,200 units. And I thought, oh, okay. Now I got to get the money to fund how to buy 1,200 units. And that's how it kept going and going and going.
That's amazing. It's so great.
It's great.
Tell us about this baked. This is your new thing, the baked makeup. And like I said, I hope you got to go to Italy and figure all this out because it sounds amazing.
Well, yeah, I have to tell you, part of QVC is that they want newness if you're a brand. And so you can't just keep selling the same thing forever. You have to innovate and come up with new things. So they would say to me, what else do you have? Like, we need something else from you now. You've been selling these items for some time. And I was like, oh, and I didn't have a PD department, a product development department at the time. And I opened my vanity drawer where I made my face up every day out of, and I was using this bronzer that had all these different colors in it. And I was like, I love this bronzer. I've been using it for like 2 years. What is it? Where did I get it? Because vendors would send me submissions of products from, trade shows. And I tracked down the originator of this product, and it's made in Italy. And he said, I can't explain it to you. You have to come to Italy. I'm like, twist my arm. Okay. Why don't you? And so he took me to Italy, where I went into the factory and saw this process, Christina, like nothing I've ever seen. And I've seen makeup being made. So what it is it's pure pigment. In this case, it was 6 different pigments blended together. So it was like color correcting, and you get highs and lows. Your skin doesn't look like you just covered it. And then it's mixed with like just ingredients like antioxidants, like white tea and no mineral oils, no parabens, nothing bad for you. And I said, I'm going to order this bronzer because QVC approved it first. And I actually ordered the bronzer, and that was almost 2 decades ago. So actually baked was my first baked item. And then customers loved it so much that all they ever wanted was anything baked. So then it became, okay, bronzer, then what else? Foundation, what else? Blush, what else? Eyeshadow. I even did lip that was baked. And so my line of cosmetics is made out of this factory that's handmade and baked on pure terracotta. I think I have it here to show you. It is really outstanding what they do. This is a terracotta tile, and it's pure terracotta. And what happens is when you have a plant, generally it's terracotta, not in a metal pan. And the reason is that if you pour water in it, the terracotta holds the hydration of the water longer so that your soil stays hydrated longer. So anything you put on this stays more hydrating than a typical, pressed powder on a metal pan. So that's how baked really comes to be and has still been the biggest part of our cosmetic line.
Wow. That's
pretty
fascinating.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Pretty
and
incredible.
Is that geared? I guess it was 2021, you started using more mature models.
Yeah.
And your line really is geared towards women our age.
Yeah. I mean, truthfully, the demographic of the customer is at QVC is 40 plus, 50 plus. I kind of always knew that. And I also saw that I was older and my needs were changing. And when we did a brand analysis, a real dive into who our customer was, it was a customer over 40. And I thought, I get it. I get why they're coming to me. I get why I'm speaking to them. And so it was like a vindication because at that time, there were things in the market, and there are many cosmetic companies that do things that are great for mature faces, but nobody was speaking to it. Nobody was showing women in real time that were 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. And so we started featuring real women in our ads, we call them geller gals, and celebrities and models, aspirational figures. And we had a shift, and we really decided, you know what, you can't be everything to everybody. Like, there was a time that my brand, I was trying to still appeal to a young audience because I didn't want to have them not be part of it. But so when we made that shift, our brand really took off.
I tell my clients that all the time in the PR space. They're like, "Oh, Christina, I can serve everybody." I said, "I get that, but once you hone in, you're going to blow up because you talk to your ideal client over and over." And like I said, I don't know who your digital marketing people are, but holy smokes, brilliant!
Really?
You're everywhere. You're everywhere.
I tell them all the time, I may know how to do makeup. I may be great at innovation. I may be good at customer facing, but the brilliance of what they do for digital marketing is like nothing I've ever seen. And I don't see it much. They're just smart. They get me. They know how to make me look good, not look good, but use my likeness in a way that it resonates, whether it's funny stuff or real stuff, they're just so smart.
Now tell me, so the baked makeup, and it's funny, I was just on a girls trip. We just got back. 5 of us went to Aruba. Fun. Yeah, it was so fun. And we're all, late 50s, 60. And we're all talking about it. It was so funny because I said, "You guys, I'm interviewing Laura Geller on Monday. Have you heard of her?" And they're like, "Yeah, I have all of her stuff in my makeup bag." I'm like, "Yay.
Oh, yay. Thank you."
But the baked makeup, does that, because obviously our skin is changing. I know I got to really look into your stuff about like my under eyes. All of a sudden I'm like, "Oh, what happened here?" It's very dry.
What do you mean?
It's very wrinkly.
Dry?
It's dry and wrinkly. Like, I feel like it's not smooth anymore.
No, funny you said about that. I went to brunch Saturday. A friend of mine retired and is moving to Florida. There were 8 of us, and everybody was talking about their under eye area. And it was such a topical conversation. And I actually recommended my friend who has a skincare line, Peter Thomas Roth, who's on QVC and has a product called Instafirmex. And you put it's temporary, and it gets rid of all the puffs and the lines, and it lasts about 6 to 8 hours, but you have to be very skilled. And all my friends were like, "Can you send me the link? Can you send me the link?" And everybody was sending me pictures today because they all ordered it on Amazon, and they were like, "What do you think? Wait a minute, I can't smile. It's made my eyes so tight though." And so it is a thing. So for me, we're not in the skincare space yet. We may be one day, but for me, what I would tell people to do is you have to really listen, barring surgery or cosmetics, fillers and things, you have to treat the under eye area with a lot of moisture on a lot of regular basis, because otherwise when you go to and even my baked stuff will look dry on you. So I recommend my Spackle, which is an under makeup primer. And I came out with that more than 2 decades ago, before under makeup primer was big in the business. I was one of the first to market in that. There was 2 other brands. And the difference is when you put Spackle first, it doesn't penetrate the skin the way moisturizers do and are intended to do. It kind of hovers on the skin so that when you put the concealers on top or anything, powder, cream, liquid, it goes on smoother and it doesn't cake up in those dry areas. It's for the whole face, but it goes under the eye too.
Okay. Yeah, because we were all talking about that. That's our big
I know.
issue.
We were doing the same conversation at a different location. We could have all been together.
It's a common theme, women our age.
It is.
Okay, so you're always looking for something new. You got the baked. What's next?
Well, that's, we're still inventing more baked things. I mean, You should
Baked is
see
just
our
the way to
peak.
go.
Yeah, for us it is. We found the niche, and now we are adding ingredients into new innovation that really are. I don't like to say anti-aging because I love aging, and the older I get, the better I am. But
Yes.
ingredients that really work for mature skins. So we're improving upon the ease of use, which means delivery system, which means ingredients, but we're always working on new. For an example, we have a line of eyeliners that are transfer resistant. They don't ever come off. And when you put them on, they stay rich in pigment the way it did when you laid it on. And they are easy to use. So it's not just baked. We have to do franchises of products that are, have different things. You can't do that in baked. But, I'm always working on innovation. And in 27 years of being on QVC, Christina, I just have to say, I kind of have done everything. And there's nothing that my product development team ever shows me that I go, oh, I've never done that. I'm always like, I did that. But they're like, but there's new audiences and we didn't do it in this way of delivering it. And there's new ingredients. And I'm like, yes, you're right. Let me take a back seat. Let's develop this. There are new ingredients. There's new ways of putting it on that make it easier. So it's really that's probably the hardest part of our business is the product development. Because we're on QVC so often and I don't want to imitate. I always want to innovate.
Is that your main source of sales, QVC? Or
No. It was at one time for us, but now because of the digital space and .com, our own laurageller.com, where we have the most incredible deals. Everybody should sign up there, truthfully. You may get bombarded with emails, I'm just saying, but when we have sales, and we have them often, they are ridiculous. They're so great. I'm like, how are we doing that? But that's not my area to know.
Right.
I don't do the finance.
You have a team for that, yeah.
So laurageller.com, amazon.com, and then QVC. And then, we're on Macy's.com in a small way, lordandtaylor.com, even though they don't exist. We're in different areas, but, going into brick and mortar is tough because it's a tough battle to be a brick and mortar today.
Right.
I doesn't mean we won't. You did, right.
I had a store for 10 years. Yeah. And we opened in a blighted town. Like we knew what was coming. But it was.
Where was your store?
In a little town called Haymarket, Virginia.
In Virginia. I knew you were from Virginia.
Yeah. But we knew that so Disney was supposed to come. And when Disney backed out, we knew that there were going to be thousands and thousands of homes built. So we opened a store and all the vendors told us, no. And then because of my past experience, I did this demographic study and we sent it to Vera Bradley and to Brighton, and they opened with us, which they had never done. And we ended up being the number one Vera Bradley retailer in the country in Little Haymarket, Virginia. So but it's not easy. My husband has always said to me, he's like, that doesn't happen normally. Like you don't open a retail store successfully, but we knew kind of like you with the baked, you knew you were onto something. We knew.
Yeah. Well, you did your homework. Yeah. My biggest cautionary tale to women, men, entrepreneurs, people who have ideas is you do have to do your homework. You have to know the landscape of what you're doing. And people just discount when I say that and they go, I know this is unique. I know this is a great idea. Like people are going to love it. Can I just say?
Who is going to love it? Not people. You better know exactly who. Yeah.
No, I just spoke to two women recently, one very young woman, and an older woman, both developing stuff in the beauty space. And they wanted advice. One I went to lunch with and one I spoke to on the phone. And listen, it's not for me to say I know what's going to work and what's not going to work. I'm not a predictor of this. But I do know a little. And I was concerned. I mean, they had spent a lot of money on development and, labeling and graphic design and putting it together before they even did enough homework, and I shared that with them. I said, a lot of people are doing this. Why is yours different? Please tell me. Like, I'm trying to hear it. So,
and it's so important you're bringing this up, because a lot of our listeners are in that next chapter where they've done corporate, or they stayed home and raised their kids, or they did something, and now they're ready. They've got money, and they've got confidence, and they might want to invent a product or start a business. And that is the best piece of advice that we can give you, is do your homework. You have to know who's going to buy your product or service. And, there are avatar exercises where they go, so, my ideal client is a 37-year-old brunette who weighs 120 pounds and has, eats oatmeal every day for breakfast and drinks Chardonnay at night. I mean, you can go so deep in that, but the deeper you can go, the more successful you're going to be.
Oh, what do you mean you can go deep in? What's an avatar exercise?
Oh, it's so who your ideal client is. And you just go deeper and deeper into, the more you can really pinpoint exactly.
Now, do you have to hire somebody for that?
You can go online. You can hire people, but there are actually, you can Google, avatar exercises, and it will walk you through.
I have people that do it at my company. Yeah. I don't even know. Maybe they're probably going, when they listen to me, they're probably going, Laura, we're doing that. But I don't know. I don't do that. Oh, really?
Yeah.
So there's so much more. Yeah, sorry.
But your avatar is a mature woman.
Yes.
And they probably know and I don't know but maybe she travels, maybe she's, in the C-suite.
They do know that.
Or they know all of that. That's your avatar. And that's probably why you follow me all around everywhere I am online, because I'm probably in your ideal demographic.
Got it. Okay.
You have good people working for you. Oh my God.
I do. Agreed.
I knew this was going to go very quickly. So excited to talk to you.
Yes, you were. Okay.
So tell me the greatest thing you've accomplished since you turned 50.
I'm 66. Let's get that straight. Since I turned 50, I think it happened later in life. I was in my late 40s when I really went on QVC. Well, no, that's not true either. I was 37. Since 50s, I just think, because I've been doing this, I think it's the greatest thing I accomplished is having less nerves about being who I want to be and more comfortable in my skin. And I always had that chutzpah, but I have it even more now.
Don't you love it?
It's so cool. It's so great. So cool. It's like, what could happen to me now? What could you do to me now if I say that? And of course, I'm never insulting and I'm always careful. Yeah. But it does get better later.
That's why I say we can all take a no. Okay, I'll try again, or I'll try something different. It doesn't hurt as bad when somebody says, oh, I don't like your idea. Okay, somebody will. I'll find that person.
Exactly right. I know. You must have a great audience, and I hope I delivered something of knowledge to them.
It was so great. It was so great. Okay, you're 66. Good. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Oh, I want to keep working. I love what I do. I love my Geller Gal and Guy community. I don't want to ever let them down, but I think part of what I'm doing is building an empire, God willing, that lasts long after I'm gone. I want this brand. It has always been my mission to want this brand to stay. So, I have a backup guest who's more than 20 years younger than me that goes on QVC for me. I want it to continue. I want the legacy to continue, but I don't see myself retiring. And I also don't see myself playing pickleball, canasta, or mahjong. So I don't know. Where should I go? More travel. For sure.
Well, it sounds like you have to go back to Italy and see what else they're baking.
We are.
What else you might need. Perfect.
It's funny you said that. My team just told me about a week ago in a product development meeting that we're going back to the factory to work on something. That's really funny you mentioned that. We're going.
If you ever need a 57, 58-year-old test person, I'm happy to come along.
I'll remember that, Christina. Okay. And you'll probably be the only one who is offering themselves up for that trip.
Well, hopefully I was the first, so it'll stick.
You are the first.
Oh gosh, Laura, thank you so much. So everybody listening, if everybody needs her makeup, her products, go to laurageller.com. They are designed for women our age. And I will sign up. And like I said, you do follow me around. So I'm going to try the spackle. I can't wait for the spackle.
Get the hydrating one. And you can also, you just started following me on my own Instagram, which is Laura J for Joan Geller, but Laura Geller Beauty. Everybody should sign up on Instagram, and because we have the best, oh my God, the pranks they make me do. Oh my God.
Oh, I can't wait. Okay, we will definitely check it out. Thank you so much for joining me
Thanks
today.
for having me.
Thank you for listening or for watching this episode of Living Ageless and Bold. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit subscribe. And if you like the episode, I hope that you will give us a great review. You can also head over to livingagelessandbold.com and sign up for information, inspiration, and exclusive opportunities for us, women over 55. Thanks for listening. And remember, no matter what you do, keep living ageless and bold.